The Search for Sutton Bog. Hell of a title. Yeah, Sutton Bog. Sutton Bog appears in old orchid books, and it doesn't appear in new orchid books. It doesn't appear on the internet. It doesn't appear on maps. And I've always been interested by Sutton Bog because it used to contain, and I'm only going back to the 1990s here, it used to contain Marsh Fragrant Orchids, and they don't grow around here, but they did grow at Sutton Bog in the 1990s. Now, do they still grow there? I've never seen it reported, but you know, starting off really in trying to answer that one, I need to find out where the hell is Sutton Bog. Well, I've done some research. I've looked at old documents, I've looked at old maps, I've looked at Google Earth, and based on the fact that it must be near Sutton Village, and if a bog has to be where there's water, where there's a stream. Sutton Village, stream, Google Earth to try and find something that looks like a bog, and I found somewhere. And I'm coming down here today to see whether this is indeed Sutton Bog. I mean, there won't be a sign up for it, but I'll pretty much know if I see it that I've landed in the right spot. And then it's a case of, is there still anything here after sort of 30, 40 years? And if there were Marsh Fragrant Orchids here once, are they still here? That's why I've left it right to the end of the season, because this is Marsh Fragrant Orchid season. If I'm going to find them, this is the right time to find them, and that would be one hell of a result to come up with a Marsh Fragrant Orchid in Peterborough. So step one now is to head off down this hill to where I think it might be, and then go from there. I have no idea how to get there or what to find, but you can share the adventure with me. Well, I'm fairly convinced this is it. This is Sutton Bog up ahead of us behind these bushes. The reason the site is of particular interest is there's a series of freshwater springs that run down from the left up there on what is known as Sutton Heath. And these are calcareous streams. They're running over limestone bedrock and then emerging and then bringing down highly sedimented water, calcareous sedimented water into this marsh. So you've got a very high sort of limestone presence in very wet conditions, although I'm sure it's not going to be too wet today, and that's why it used to be a site of particular interest. I think it is still a site of special scientific interest officially, but it's why you can imagine plants like Marsh Fragrant Orchid might just fancy it here. So I'm not too confident we'll find anything, but yeah, I think we're in the right spot, so we've got that far. There's certainly plenty of common spotted growing around here, so the terrain is right. It's an interesting place, not so much for orchids apart from the common spotteds. This is Sutton Bog. I have absolutely no doubt this is or was Sutton Bog. I think it's probably not what it was 30-40 years ago. It looks quite overgrown. You can't really see how orchids in the actual marshy part would actually have a chance with it growing as high and as dense as it is. I'm going to keep looking Not going to give up quite yet, but doesn't look like we're going to find Marsh Fragrant Orchids, which I suppose it was 5% chance, if that. But I'm just going to have a keep looking. I'm not going to give up yet. You never know. You never know. It's just so dense in here, so dense. There's no way orchids can grow in this. You know, it's not really been looked after. I don't suppose there's anyone looking after it. But yeah, maybe it didn't look like this 30 years ago, should I say. Yeah, there's little chance of marsh orchids growing in here now. Nice marbled white butterfly, female marbled white. Doesn't fancy flying, it's a bit brisk out here. We've moved up from Sutton Bog to Sutton Heath now, which is just above the bog. It's the kind of chalk grassland area, and yeah, the common spotted are hanging on here. Still putting on a bit of a show. Good effort. This is one of the springs that run down from the heath into the bog and create the bog. They refer to them as flushes because this water seeping up from the ground here is, as I said earlier, carrying a lot of sediment, which flushes over the landscape here and creates a good environment for orchids. There you go, that's it. It was Sutton Bog, that was Sutton Bog and Sutton Heath. I'm absolutely 100% on that. I knew it was from the maps, and I'm pleased I found it. I can tick it off. It's not the mystical place I hoped it would be, but as I say, it's good to find it. It just doesn't appear anywhere, hasn't done for 20-30 years. It could have turned something up, but overgrown, too dry for Marsh Fragrant Orchids. Common spotted orchids made it, well, gave us something to look at really, but that's orchid hunting for you. Sometimes you head out and you don't always find a whole lot, and I tend to delete these files, but I'm going to leave this one up. Not very exciting, but it just shows sometimes it doesn't work out. But like I say, pleased to have found Sutton Bog, and with or without Marsh Fragrant Orchids. So what next? Well, that's it really for sort of midsummer orchids. It's hellebrines, it's that time. It's hellebrines, it's broad-leaved violet hellebrine. Might try and find some new sites this year, but they're quite rare in this part of the world, so we may well be just going back to Bedford Purlius, but try and cover them a little bit better this year than I did last year. Probably need 7 to 10 days before I go out. I think they're not quite there yet, but yeah, we're at hellebrine time already. Soon be Christmas. Until then, see you around. Keep well.